to Patreon Picks, a show dedicated to the people who are generous to donate to me on Patreon. For every $1 that I am given on Patreon, I will take the person who gave me that dollar, write their name on a card, and then write the game that they want me to review on it, and then I'm going to put it into this Suicide Squad bucket, and then I'm going to pull it out and then give that game a review. However, I'm in a bit of a pickle because the Patreon only went live today, so no names. Fortunately, a couple of months ago, I had a stream where the people who were in it were just incredibly generous. I tried to get a hold of as many as I could and asked, hey, I'm going to be doing a bit of a raffle thing. Which game would you like me to look at? Well, I got 3 of them to respond to me. So, first off, we have Name, giving me $5 for Room Factory 4. We also had Megan Anderson. She got insanely generous. $10 for The Last of Us. And we also have a buddy of mine named Sarah Stroff. He lives in Sweden and gave me 35 Swedish dollars, which is actually equal to $4 and 75 cents. Actually, you know what? If someone is generous enough to give me $4.75, I'll go ahead and give them 5 picks. However, for my choices, there are a few caveats, games that I won't look at. I tried to explain it on the page, but obviously, Stardew Valley, I did that last week, so won't be reviewing that anytime soon. And if there's a game that I already plan to review, like Room Factory 4, which is going to be in about 6 months, I also won't be reviewing that game. So I wonder what game I could possibly be looking at. Megan Anderson has brought you The Last of Us. Now, that would have been the point of the video where I stopped recording, go on to eBay and buy a copy of the game. The thing is, I already own The Last of Us. I actually bought it on day 1, super excited for it. I went and played it for 3 hours, and then I unplugged my PlayStation 3 so I could play the Xbox 360 Halo Reach with my friends, and then I never plugged my PlayStation 3 in again, so I never got to play this. So, all I have to say is, Megan, thank you for giving me an opportunity to play a game that I bought.
So The Last of Us is a zombie game. I mean, the only reason I even bought a PlayStation 3 was for this game and Beyond Two Souls, and I hadn't even bothered picking that one up. So when the game starts off, the zombie apocalypse hasn't even happened yet. There's a man named Joel and his daughter Sarah, and man, Naughty Dog has got to be one of the best developers ever. This game looks phenomenal, and the script is great too. And I absolutely love the interaction between these characters. And I gotta say, even though this opening cutscene was brief, I really loved watching it. Anyway, Sarah gets a call in the middle of the night, and she wakes up, and it's a call from her Uncle Tommy. The thing is, I need to find my dad, but hold the phone! Okay, Naughty Dog, I get that you're trying to instill this sense of urgency, but you can't say, find your dad right now, and then put me in such a richly detailed room. I need to look around and look at all these posters. Is that a giraffe? Oh, this giraffe doll is so cool. Yes, I can take the giraffe with me. Yeah, giraffe journey with Mr. Giraffe. Okay, so I finally stop gawking at the environment and go on my way, and I try to find my dad, but then I marvel at his room. Then I go downstairs, trying to find my dad, but man, I gotta marvel at the downstairs too, and oh, there's my dad. Oh, flip, that's his, and he shot the zombie. So, Uncle Tommy shows up, and then we have some exposition while we try and escape in a car. So usually in a scene like this, I would like to admire the environment, but I am just captivated by the authenticity of Sarah's animations for moving around the car. But soon we get broadsided, and Sarah's leg got janked up. Now I need to play as Joel carrying his girl. So we need to run through these end-time streets, avoiding zombies and ducking into buildings with Tommy. At one point he gets pinned, however, and tells us to run ahead. And I've got zombies hot on my tail. Oh, hey, it looks like an army man saved us. Okay, maybe we're not as saved as I would like to. Okay, I'm fine, and Tommy popped him. Awesome, but no, Sarah, oh, no, okay. This game is a little more real and emotionally gut-wrenching than I'd like in my first half hour of playing. Oh, no. Nice use of the impact font there, guys. So skip forward 20 years where society has completely collapsed and, well, we have Joel and his partner in crime, Tess. The story's kind of vague, but it does give us enough information to know what we need to do next. So we worked with this guy named Robert, and he kind of betrayed us, so now he's gotta die. So we head out to find our buddy, but then some terrorism happens, so we kind of just need to sneak around. While doing this, we learn that Tess and Joel are smugglers. You want it? We got it. At one point, we kind of go through a rough area of town, and in the corner of this town, I find a little girl, and is that Mr. Giraffe? Oh, that's so cool! Tess, this NPC has a giraffe! Oh, that's awesome! Can I replace Tess with the character? You know, maybe later. I'm not sure that I want Mr. Giraffe in an area with all these thugs and waist-high walls. Yep, it's time for a combat tutorial. Here we learn how to shoot people, we learn how to stab people, we learn how to beat people's heads in, and how to strangle someone to death. Yep, 5 seconds without air is definitely enough to shut a brain off. So we find Robert and we tell him, hey buddy, we really don't like being betrayed. After that, a woman named Marlena shows up. She's a member of that terrorist group from earlier. I don't really know why anyone would commit terrorism after 99.9% of the population has been wiped out, but hey, that's the situation. We explained to her that Robert kind of sold her group some stuff that actually belonged to us. She says that's kind of tough, but she will give back if, you know, we just smuggle something for her real quick. What do you need? Drugs? Rubies? Human trafficking? Oh, okay, so it is human trafficking. We gotta get this little girl across town. But I do need to say that this mission is going to be next to impossible for me to complete, though.
Okay, so you know how I said I had a really hard time getting out of Sarah's room because I just needed to soak in all of that detail? Well, let me tell you, I am far more captivated by the sight of dilapidation and rain-soaked environments. How am I gonna get past this?
Naughty Dog, how do you expect me to play your game? I just want to stare at all this beautiful scenery. Okay, well, I'll just cut out all the footage of me just looking at the static images and just concentrate on the gameplay. Pretty early on, we get caught by some soldiers, but we catch them off guard while they're scanning us. However, turns out that the little girl, Ellie, has been infected with the zombie virus, but she tells us that she's been infected for about 3 weeks. She's immune! That's why the terrorist group wants her. They think that they can use her to find a cure for the zombieism. However, we did just kill some soldiers, so we need to escape the pursuit under the cover of dark. Eventually we do, and then we get into this big building, and on top of the rain, the dilapidation, this building leaning over, it just makes for some amazing environments. But there are also zombies here, so I need to choke them to death. Except for the really infected zombie. For him, I need to stab him with one of my limited use stabby weapons. We make our way through the city and then get jumped by zombies several times. We just shoot them and it's going pretty well. But in due time, we make it to the hideout. By the way, the name of the organization is the Fireflies, but when we get there, they're already dead.
Well, I guess that makes this entire room the Studio Ghibli classic, My Neighbor Totoro.
Well, Tess insists that I take Ellie to some fireflies, and Joel's pretty opposed to this request. However, Tess does play the, dying wish card. You see, in one of those zombie encounters, she kinda got bit. Also, the soldiers from earlier have caught up with us. She's gonna buy us some time, but we have got to go. So we need to navigate this spectacular environment while using stealth to kill these guards, and occasionally guns. With the escape from that building and a flooded subway section, we get through the first major act and head to the next. You see, Joel knows a guy who can get him a running car, and with the distance we're going, we kinda need it. However, Bill must have worked for Nintendo in the 90s because this whole area is set up like a Legend of Zelda dungeon. I need to climb up ladders and set up paths, and find ways to get past these landmines, and of course you can kill monsters with a bow and arrow too. This was fun. Another thing that's fun that you wouldn't expect to be fun is getting trapped. I'm serious. You see, most gamers will vilify turret sections, but you know what? I think this deserves a special exception. You know, because most of the time in a turret section, you're in an elevated position on a machine gun, and it can be pretty similar from game to game. However, in this particular section, you're dangling from one leg upside down with a revolver while needing to protect a character that's attempting to help you from bloodthirsty fungus zombies.
You know, now that I'm actually saying it out loud, I realize it is a bit of an overused trope in video games.
So midway through that battle, Bill shows up and gets me down, and we get running from the zombies. But eventually we do find some respite, and well, you know, I don't think that Bill, Joel, or even Ellie have the best social skills. I will admit that it lends itself to some pretty entertaining banter throughout the game, but there still is a little bit of tension. So we explain the situation to Bill, and while he does find it annoying, he does owe Joel some favors. So we set up a plan to get his arsenal, so that we can head to the local high school. So the arsenal is pretty cool. It's here that I learn a crafting recipe for some grenades. I also learned how to make my shivs more durable. And I'm given a shotgun. Heck, I even make myself a holster so I can quickly change between my loud, up-close killing weapon and my long-range stealth killing weapon. So we make it through the area, taking out zombies, sometimes with top-notch stealth skills, and other times with very poor stealth skills.
I think his mate saw me. Yes, he did.
But eventually, we get to this truck. Bill's plan was to salvage the battery, but thing is, it's already gone. But we don't have time to mope, though. There are a bunch of those mushroom zombies banging at our door. And the inside of the school isn't much better. And man, this is just another awesome environment. Something that we're all familiar with, overtaken by darkness and plants. It's so cool. One thing that's less cool, however, is the bloater. A big, old zombie. You don't want to let him touch you, but you do want to waste tons of bullets and Molotovs on him. It's a fun enough fight, though. So we finish him off and we get ourselves to a safe area. Turns out this safe area is where the stolen battery ended up. You see, Bill had a pal who took it, but he also got infected, so he didn't make it very far. Alright, all we need to do is jumpstart this car and we can go. Unfortunately, Ellie messes up the first pop of the clutch, so we keep pushing her. The whole time, though, we need to take little short breaks to cap some zombies, and I'm not gonna deny it, this is a pretty cool premise. But eventually we get to a hill, she starts the car, and we make our harrowing escape. Maybe. What's harrowing mean? Is it heroic escape might be better? I might look that up. Well, we bid Bill adieu, and then we head on our way, and I think this is my favorite cutscene in the game. Fantastic chemistry, setup to story, payoff to jokes, it's just a lot of fun. The next cutscene, however, is a little less fun. You see, we drive into a city, and pretty soon we are in a raider trap. Joel puts the pedal to the metal, but one trap leads to another, and pretty soon we're in a fight for our lives, pinned down in a gas station, and we are partaking in some awesome, dynamic Naughty Dog violence. Some of these finishing moves are just so visceral and real. I gotta give props to Naughty Dog, especially on the strangling, because as I mentioned earlier, 5 seconds is definitely the right amount of time it takes to choke the life out of someone. So after some intense battles, Ellie and I need to sneak through this city that belongs to the Raiders, and there are a lot of combat situations, but I actually managed to navigate through quite a few of them without too much combat. Some clever maneuvering through these cars, and some well-placed arrow shots. Eventually we got ourselves to a hotel, and while messing around in the elevator shaft, Ellie and I got separated. I fall into a dank basement with tons of zombies. Most of it isn't too hard, but the bloater did give me problems. You see, our first bloater fight was in a wide, open area. It had 3 people fighting him, and it was pretty good. This second fight, it's in a little more of a claustrophobic, dark hallways, and every couple seconds, I gotta take my attention off of him to deal with these monstrosities. Yeah, that's fair. But although it wasn't easy, I did deal with it, and I made it to the surface. And shortly after that, I'm in a cutscene where this dude is just strangling Joel to death. Fortunately, Joel can survive for more than 5 seconds without air, long enough for Ellie to show up and blast the dude in the face. A real coming-of-age moment for Ellie, her first murder. From this point on, Joel gives her a gun, which allows her to give me covering fire in battles. Well, against guys. A literal tank with a 50 cal machine gun is a completely different story. This part of the game is more evade the tank and get to safety. We do eventually run into another guy, and while our relationship got off to a bit of a rocky start, we soon started helping each other. This is Henry and his brother Sam. We're both trying to find the Fireflies, so we decide to team up for a while against all of the bandits. And while we're heading to our next objective, we run into some Naughty Dog Easter eggs. The first one is a little more obvious because it's in the background of a cutscene. The Jack and Daxter board game? Yeah, I'd play that. A little less obvious though was while I was attempting to take in every last bit of scenery, I entered this room that had Jack and Daxter pinatas on a dresser. Yeah, I'd smash those open with a stick. So we get to Henry's hideout and he points out the escape route. He says that during the night they really reduce the amount of dudes, so tonight we're going to make our escape. So the sun goes down and we strike. We start with this awesome synchronized kill, but with the second dude that I try to kill, unfortunately I got spotted. I quickly take cover and then unintentionally let the immortal NPCs, Ellie and Henry, take out like 90% of the foes. After that we get to the other side of the door, but that freaking APC with the machine gun is hot on our tail. We need to climb up and over this truck. Alright, Henry, Ellie, Sam, oh no, the ladder broke, oh no, what? Hey! Oh, screw you, Henry! Okay, so now we're back to just me and Ellie again. It's a lot of fun, and we make our daring escape. Now we're to the home stretch. Holy crap! Oh my, no, what the, holy, oh god, holy gosh! I don't want to die!
Did you know that Naughty Dog is really good at producing atmosphere in video games?
So we get to the bridge, but it has a little bit of a hole in it, and we're really short on options right about now. So, Ellie, the girl who doesn't know how to swim, comes up with a brilliant one. I'm forced to follow her. I don't want her to drown, and oh, that looked like it hurt. I wake up on the shore, and wouldn't you know it, Henry saved us. But then Joel calmly explains that how going ahead of us was not something that a cool guy would do. But then Henry explains that he actually is a cool guy, so we decide, okay, we'll continue as a team for a little longer. While we're walking along, we find a beach boat, and inside that boat is a letter that starts the awesome chronicles about a man named Ish. He was out to sea when the whole apocalypse thing started, but eventually his supplies did run out. Near the boat is an entrance to a sewer. As we enter it, I find another note about how the sewer is a great hiding place for a mole man like him. And then another letter talks about how he found people and they started a society. Eventually we find his hideout and they've got water, living quarters, and is that a giraffe? Oh my gosh, Ish was a genius! They had the greatest hideout of all time! I mean, look, they had Mr. Giraffe! They're so cool! Unfortunately, I also found a letter to discuss that a couple of zombies ruined the whole operation, and we soon find out that this hole is stuffed with zombies. So we have to go through several combat encounters, but eventually we did escape, and we found a message scrawled on the wall that told us maybe we shouldn't have gone inside. But now we go through a pretty relaxed section. Tons of houses for me to loot for crafting supplies, and the whole thing is interlaced with a lot of banter between the characters. However, I think Naughty Dog could have tried a little harder with this whole dart scene, because I watched it and the lines didn't match at all. I swear, every single line was wrong. 15 is actually more points than 11, and 7 points is not the clincher that makes you the champ. I don't know, I just found that whole thing slightly annoying. Kind of like this one room. I mean, who was here before me? I mean, what kind of idiot has this many posters?
Hello and welcome to my YouTube show. This week we'll be looking at one of my favorite games that just excels in brutal two-player action, The Turning. Hey Ellie, who's your favorite character and what does their fatality do?
Angel knives. She'd punch a hole through your stomach before kicking your head off.
Heck, while I was searching these houses, I even found the final letter from Ish, where he describes the downfall of the hideout. You know, The Last of Us is a pretty good story, but I'd love a movie, or heck, even a book, that goes more in depth with the tale of Ish. Actually, forget books, I hate reading. Maybe a comic book? Well, we continue our peaceful scavenging, but a bullet tears us out of that pretty quickly. And I need to navigate down this road with a sniper at the end, and tons of dudes in my way. It takes a while, but eventually I make it there, kill the sniper, and then I get to be the sniper. And I get another fun turret section where I need to keep people off Ellie, Sam, and Henry. And it's pretty fun pulling off all these shots, and I feel really powerful. But everything changes when the APC from last night shows up and it's chucking Molotovs. But I did find out that the tank has the similar weakness to the dragons from How to Train Your Dragon.
Not so fireproof on the inside, are you?
Okay, I'm actually editing the video right now, but I've got to talk about this real quick because I didn't notice it while I was playing. Apparently what happened here is the guy had already thrown the Molotov and then I shot him. So the Molotov had gone 15 feet, he got shot, and then the Molotov just makes a U-turn, comes back to 15 feet just so it can die right into the APC. I just found that hilarious, thought you might find it funny too. Well, after the dudes come zombies. I blast a couple of them off my buddies, but there are still tons rushing towards the house. So we just abandon it, and then we get a cutscene where Joel and Henry discuss motorcycles, and Sam and Ellie renounce God. But then Sam does something completely tacky. Yep, he got bit and he decides to keep that to himself, which really comes back to bite us in the morning. Or at least it forces Henry to shoot his infected brother. But when he realizes that he had failed his main goal of keeping Sam alive through this whole shindig, well, he just decides to tap out.
That was a bit heavy.
Oh. So we have finally made it to Tommy. We have to solve a couple of puzzles on this dam here, but all we need to do is cut through it to get to Tommy's place. And oh, hey, buds, look, you don't need to shoot us. We're just looking for Tommy. Hey, I'm Tommy. Oh, cool. So I have some familial bonding with my brother, and he explains that they've gotten this place working. They've got electricity, they've got defenses. It's pretty sick. But then I say, hey, can I pass Ellie on to you so you can get her to the Fireflies and I can go back to my worthless life? Tommy's a little pensive at first, and so is Tommy's wife. Also, Ellie got irked by this, and so she stole a horse and rode off, which means that I get to play through a horse section, which is pretty cool. I mean, it gets interrupted halfway through with a bandit fight, but hey, it isn't too hard, and eventually we make it to Ellie. Then they have a really emotional cutscene. Joel, I really don't like it when people leave me. And then Joel's all, you're adopted! But then we need to murder some dudes, and then it's back to Tommy's place. And I really love what Naughty Dog did with this cutscene. You know, the expressions are just so point on. You can see that Joel's upset with what he said. He really wants to to apologize, but because of his characterization, he really can't. So he just comes up with the next best thing. Witty dialogue! Hey, Tommy, your wife kinda scares me. How about I take her to the Fireflies? Huh? And now we're here at UEC, a made-up Colorado university, but they really did a great job of making it seem real. And there's really not much to say except that I do get a flamethrower, and I gotta say this game is really just great with the power progression. You can see yourself becoming more powerful. You see, you only started with a backpack, but now just by looking at Joel, you can see I've got a shotgun, a flamethrower, some arrows. Honestly, seeing that Joel is more powerful at just a glance is just one of the many cool things about this game. So what really happened in this area? I guess I had to go through some spore-covered dorm rooms and had to fight a bloater. Okay, I guess I didn't really have to fight the bloater. I chose to. But check it out! 3 nail bombs destroyed him instantly! Was this the worst use of scissor bombs ever? Yes. Did I ever fully recover my supplies? No. But was it worth it? Not really. So we noticed pretty quickly that this place is abandoned and that the Fireflies have moved to Salt Lake City. Will be coming soon. So that's where we need to go, but of course, first we need to battle some raiders. Of course, I can't just leave the good old-fashioned way without a shootout. So I need to cut off some dude's head, yeah, of course, and then obviously I need to get choked a whole bunch, and who could ever forget the obvious trope of getting impaled by an exposed piece of rebarb? And once again, I need to give props to Naughty Dog because they really managed to capture the feeling of being on death's door. Flip, man, Joel just got freaking killed there. Okay, I'm not buying this. One does not walk away from getting rebarb through their internal organs. Oh, okay, yeah, see, that's what I was expecting. There it is. Winter. And Ellie is all alone.
Shoot, Joel really died, didn't he?
And oh man, that jerk took everything. I totally need to restart my arsenal and kill this elk. Eventually I did, but I find these 2 guys. But they seem cool enough. However, Ellie's a bit, on edge. But they do want to trade for it. And Ellie asks if they have any medicine. Oh, okay. Maybe Joel's not as dead as he should be. So one of the guys takes off to go get some medicine, and then the guy and I have a trust-building exercise. You know, fighting some gosh dang zombies. It is pretty tough, and I realize that even though Ellie has a knife, up-close and personal fights are much more of a non-option for her. And I think that I like that. The fact that a 14-year-old isn't as good at up-close and personal combat as a 49-year-old man. Alright, I'll accept that. However, bombs and bullets still do the trick. All we need is a little bit of panic. After we survive that, the guy explains that he is currently hunting down a monster of a man traveling with a young red-headed girl. That could be anyone. Thanks for the penicillin, bye! So after that, I head back and patch Joel up. But Ellie does not prepare for war, but she really should have because the morning brought dudes. So Ellie's main goal is to lead all the dudes away from Joel. And she does this in a very cool horse cutscene. But the horse gets blasted and I've got to beat feet away from here. After that, she runs into some more dudes. And I really like Ellie's stealth kill. It's kind of like Shadow of the Colossus. It's just a tiny little person dangling from a giant monster while stabbing it just a whole bunch. Also, she went on a nature trail and I gotta say it again. Look at these environments! Humans made this on a computer! Ugh, breathtaking. So Ellie goes into a cabin, but soon she gets caught. Awesome. So we wake up in the enemy's hideout, and Ellie is just so charming. See, she's offered clemency by the main bad dude, and she says, nah, but I will break your fingers. What? So now we switch to Joel. Banged up, hole in the stomach Joel. And he really is. His movement speed when sneaking is almost non-existent. Seriously, I killed almost no one in this section. The only way I passed it was because all of the enemies walked past the trigger for the next cutscene. And in this cutscene, Joel tortures Ellie's location out of some guys. But you know, Ellie is doing just fine. So she bites the main dude and then slashes another one's throat. And then they're sneaking through a beautiful blizzardy environment. And of course, there's a bunch of stealth takedowns and some shooting. But eventually, I make it to a nice steakhouse restaurant. And it's here that I'm stripped of my gun and need to have a melee fight with the main dude with a machete. And it doesn't always end well for me. This fight was kind of hard because he also goes into stealth, and the player's ability to sense people like a bat doesn't always work. In fact, there was this one point where I had a heart attack. Okay, where is this? But there was one point where I spotted him and he didn't spot me. So I snuck over and then stabbity, stab, stab. Oh, okay. You know what? I think we'll call this one a draw. Then we switch back to Joel, but only for like a second. I only needed to kill like 5 dudes. After that, I see the burning restaurant with Ellie, and I switch to Ellie, who is just getting the crap kicked out of her. But pretty soon, she gets her hand on a machete, and then the bad guy is just getting the crap slashed out of him.
Ellie! Stop! It's okay. It's me. It's me. It's me. Look. It's me.
He tried to.
Oh, baby girl. It's okay. It's okay.
Joel.
It's okay.
Oh, shoot, that was kind of heavy.
Spring. So we finally made it to Salt Lake City, and I gotta say, this place looks a lot like Salt Lake. I've been to Salt Lake, and I gotta say that these look just like the Wasatch Mountains. They may be the Mountains, but I feel more confident in my ability to pronounce the word Wasatch, so they're the Wasatch Mountains. Yeah, we walked through Salt Lake, but eventually, we ran into some stupid animal. What even is that, a zebra? I don't care, let's move on. So then we head into a tunnel and we fight some zombies. At one point, we got to fight 2 bloaters at once. The trick to this is fire. Fire works wonders on these dudes. And then there were some puzzles. They were pretty fun. They were pretty cool. Oh no! Oh, this is not good. Come on, we gotta move. I gotta move. Ellie, Natalie, you are not supposed to be here. This is not good. No! Oh, okay. No, Ellie, what? Okay, I gotta do CPR. Come on. Put your hands in the air! Okay, dude, I'm kind of in the middle of something. It's like when you're playing Pokemon when you were a kid. I gotta wait until I get out of this battle so I can get to a save point, but just give me a sec. Ow!
What kind of tool bucket knocks someone out while they're doing CPR?
So I wake up in the hospital where I was supposed to take Ellie to. Speaking of Ellie, what happened? So, Marlene has some good news and some bad news. The good news is, Ellie didn't drown, and she can help get the cure for zombieism. The bad news is that they kind of have to rip her brain out to do it. Now, Joel, who has lost everything the world has given him, is not quite ready to give up the last thing that he has, so it's shooting time, and this last level is hard. There are tons of guys, usually covering one another. The good news is that they are also usually pretty close together, which means Molotov! So after fighting through about 1 billion dudes, I get to the operating room, and I walk up to the surgeons, and I decide to teach them the golden rule. You see, they were removing someone's brain, so I say, do unto others as you wish had others do to you! And then I grab Ellie, and it's time to run! And by the way, this exit should not be marked as an exit, because I tried to go through it, and it didn't work. So then I got kicked to the ground and shot in the head.
Happy ending.
So eventually, I do escape my pursuers, but then I run into Marlene, and she says, Joel, we need to find the cure. You know Ellie. You know she'd be okay with this. And Joel understands. Yeah, she's right. So he murders Marlene and then drives away and tells Ellie that there are tons of people who are immune, just like her. So the Fireflies sent us back to Tommy's. The end!
Okay.
So, that's The Last of Us. I'm a little confused. Megan said this was a bit of a sad game. I don't think it was sad. It had a great ending, and oh my gosh, it was so gorgeous. This is a fantastic work of art. So that is the first episode of Patreon Picks. Right now would be an excellent time for me to reach in and see what episode we'll be doing next. You know, in about 3 to 5 weeks, the next episode of Patreon Picks will go, but we got a problem. There's nothing in here! What am I gonna pick? That's where you come in. If you enjoy the Heemin Gaming Station show that I've been doing, and you want to help me grow, you know, support the show, and, you know, get a little something out of it yourself, the Patreon, I'll put the link in the description. All you gotta do, if you donate even $1, you have no idea how much you'll be helping this show. And I want to do a little bit of a favor for you. You know, you help me out. I will give you an opportunity to choose what game I'll be covering next. As you saw, we take names, we put them in here. So, if you go to the Patreon, donate even $1. You know, there'll be a video that describes it that I've already made. You can go to the Patreon, see that. And then, I guess in like 2 or 3 weeks, hopefully if I got some donations, there'll be names in this, and we can decide what the next episode of Patreon Pick will be. Bye!